gentlemen, and ladies. Last we gathered, we embarked on a journey into the often turbulent waters of political philosophy. We considered the fundamental question of government's very purpose. Is it a necessary evil, born of human wickedness, or a positive good, arising from our inherent social nature? We introduced the insightful yet largely forgotten Nathaniel Chipman, whose work offers a powerful framework for understanding this enduring dilemma. Today we delve deeper. We confront a subject of considerable intricacy, a subject that I dare say has caused more than a few furrowed brows and sleepless nights amongst political thinkers, the very principles of government. And I assure you, as we shall see, the term principles is not nearly as straightforward as one might initially assume. This is not idle philosophical musing. A clear understanding of these principles is essential. It's no exaggeration to say that the effectiveness, the justice, even the longevity of any government hinges upon the soundness of the principles upon which it is founded. We must clarify these principles, not merely to study history and have an academic understanding. We must learn from it and know these principles so that we are ready for the future. To begin, let us consider how the word principle is used. In most sciences, it signifies something fundamental. Think of a watchmaker. He understands the principles of construction, the laws of mechanics, the precise proportions of each gear and spring. He also understands the principles of operation, how the force is applied to make those gears turn, to achieve the desired end, the accurate measurement of time. We also speak of passive principles of malleability, a material's inherent nature. But when applied to government, thanks in no small part to the esteemed Baron de Montesquieu, the term has taken on a peculiar flavor. Montesquieu, a brilliant mind to be sure, sought to identify the spirit of the laws in various forms of government. He proposed three primary principles: fear, honor, and virtue. For a despotic government, Montesquieu claimed, fear is the driving force. The despot rules through terror, through the constant threat of punishment, often aided by the iron grip of superstition. A chillingly effective system, no doubt, but hardly one that champions the dignity of man. In a monarchy, Montesquieu posited that honor, that striving for distinction, that emulation of excellence, particularly amongst the nobility, serves as the animating principle. While I concede that honor plays a role, I find this definition incomplete. For what of the vast majority, the common folk? Are they not in many monarchies subjected to a form of despotism, albeit one often cloaked in tradition and religious dogma? The nobles in conjunction with the military are used to awe the people into obedience. And then we have the Republic. Here Montesquieu assigns virtue, defined as a love of the laws and of our country. A noble sentiment certainly, but one that in my view requires further scrutiny. You see, the term republic encompasses a multitude of forms, from the rigid hierarchies of an aristocracy to the more fluid structure of a democracy. Chipman, our guiding light in these discussions, takes a far broader view. He concerns himself not merely with describing existing governments, as Montesquieu largely did, but with identifying the principles upon which governments ought to be founded. He sees principles of construction analogous to the design of our watch, principles of operation, governing how power is exercised, and, crucially, passive principles, rooted in the very nature of man, his inherent, may I say God-given, social inclinations and susceptibilities. These are ulterior principles, principles that are found in man's social nature and his inherent laws. It is in the realm of representative democracy, a form of government, I might add, that was still in its nascent stages during Montesquieu's time, that we find the closest alignment with Chipman's ideals. In a true representative democracy, the laws are, or at least should be, an expression of the collective will, a compromise of individual desires, determined by the majority. But here lies the crux of the matter. Human beings are not automatons. Our wills do not always perfectly coincide. Therefore, a certain sentiment, a shared commitment to the community, to its institutions, to its laws, a modified form of Montesquieu's virtue, if you will, becomes essential. This sentiment, this attachment, is what ensures that the laws are not merely obeyed out of fear or compulsion, but out of a genuine sense of belonging and shared purpose. This sentiment, when rightly informed, is in alignment with the other moral and social virtues. This is no mere academic exercise, gentlemen and ladies. The principles we explore here have profound implications for the world we inhabit, for the future we are building. They are the very foundation upon which a just, free, and prosperous society must be erected. Our task, therefore, is to understand them, to refine them, and to apply them with wisdom and courage. So, in the following discussions, we shall employ the term principles of government in a multifaceted sense. Sometimes we shall use it in the more specific manner of Montesquieu to describe the animating spirit of a particular regime, but more often we shall use it in the broader scientific sense, encompassing the fundamental laws, the structural design, the operational mechanisms, and the inherent human qualities that shape the very fabric of governance. We must learn from history and be prepared for what the future might hold. In our next lecture, we shall turn our attention to a question that has long vexed philosophers and romantics alike, the so-called natural state of man. Is the savage, unburdened by the complexities of civilization, truly more virtuous, more happy, or does progress with all its attendant challenges offer a path to a more fulfilling existence? We shall examine Chipman's compelling arguments on this very point, arguments that might surprise those who equate simplicity with virtue, and I trust arrive at a clearer understanding of the relationship between human nature and the ever-evolving state of society.